Hello there, everyone. Pearl Jr. here. Yes, I am back. Okay, before we get started, I am going to show you more proof that Brandon is Michael Jackson's biological child. I got more, and I was just skimming and found it. It's just the evidence is outstanding. How Michael felt about Debbie when she was pregnant through his songs. Okay, the timing's all there. But before we do, and more stuff I promised in my last video, I had put it on private because I had made a few mistakes that we will go over. But before I do, stays all day shade, still working play, because everybody has skin. So make sure you take great care of your skin and have it soft and luscious. It can even reduce wrinkles. It can get rid of crepiness. And it can have your skin glowy and shining and more youthful. So be sure. And you can smell like your favorite scent, your favorite designer perfumes, or if you like to smell sweet or flowery. Oh, my jazz man is to die for, seriously. And so is lavender, and so is rose. Smells exactly like roses. Okay, anyway, so go to staysalldayshay.com or the Skin Butter store. Remember, on the Skin Butter store on August 21st at 11 o'clock, we will be having a ribbon cutting ceremony at the Skin Butter store in North Hollywood at 11107, which are all Michael's favorite numbers, 11107, Burbank Boulevard in North Hollywood. That is August 21st at 11 a.m. It'll be our 1-year anniversary. Do you guys know I started this company so that I can make money, so I can take time off and produce AEGlive 5, and the company is just taken off, so that's why I'm here. And AEGlive 5 is still going to be released alongside with the Michael biopic, which is due out April, which is a couple of days after Earth Day, but I bet it comes out that Wednesday. I bet you, because that's Earth Day. And Michael's song, Earth Song, 2026. Michael's song, Earth Song, watch the video. It says, what if I live again? What if I die again? And the video also has everything dying and reversing back to the living. And that was Michael's death hoax clue to us, because that was the last song he performed before faking his death. Okay, it's all there. Michael faked his death. Everything is there that Michael faked his death, and more is coming. So please watch the AEGlive docu-series. Go to michaeljacksoninsider.com. All right, guys, let's get to it. Okay. First, let's do some housekeeping. The rumor about BTS collaborating with the Michael Jackson estate with an unreleased MJ song, both camps have said it's not true. They had, the BBC even had to, and everybody had to retract their reporting that there was a song coming, a collaboration. I thought it would have been a great idea, because when Michael wants the #1 most watched biopic in the world, he needs as much cross promotion as possible all over the world. And BTS is a very, very famous, I think they're Korean boy band that has everybody going crazy. But anyway, so that's one. The second housekeeping, in my last video, I said that I attended, watched Debbie testify, Debbie Rowe testify at 3 trials. She testified at 2 of the 3. I was credentialed media at all 3 of the trials. At the People versus Michael Joe Jackson, which was the 2005 trial in which he was fully acquitted, and he should have been, because I was there listening to testimony, and absolutely nothing proved that he had sex with any of those kids. Okay. The second trial was the People versus Conrad Murray death trial, in which Debbie Rowe did not testify. And then the third one that I saw Debbie Rowe testify, saw her testify in 2005, and then I saw her again in 2013 at the Katherine Jackson versus AEGlive trial. So I was in the courtroom or in the overflow room listening to Debbie Rowe, watching her live. I saw it, okay? So I do not put anything, make things up with Debbie Rowe. And we're going to clean up some things. Some stuff I couldn't find before. Transcripts, I got them now. Plus more. So sit back, relax, stay tuned. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is watch Debbie Rowe. Now, I think Debbie Rowe is feeling guilty about her life and the things that she's done, which she should, okay? And she knows she should be punished for what she's done. Because why aren't they punishing Debbie Rowe? She admits to writing prescriptions when she's not a doctor. She's not a nurse practitioner. She was controlling Michael and his medicines. She was going behind one doctor's back, talking to another doctor, and doing what the hell she wanted with Michael Jackson and his drug regimen. She was the one picking up the prescriptions and making sure he took the prescriptions. She admitted to addicting Michael and other people purposely on high, powerful drugs, very, very powerful drugs, getting them addicted on purpose. My God, okay? And she gets away with all this stuff and no punishment for her. So she went on TMZ on a documentary called Who Really Killed Michael Jackson, right? Michael Jackson ain't dead. He beat them all, okay? And I'm going to let you watch just like a minute of her confessions, okay? Here we go. Here we go.
We went through 2 decades of my patients being killed routinely by my peers.
Okay,
and it was
she's
often
coming.
in situations like this.
Here she comes. Looking like Paris. Look, just like Paris. She is Paris's biological mother. That's young Debbie Rowe. Oh, and there were pictures of her in that same dress that same day, topless, in Dr. Klein's office. So, I ain't showing that.
Trying to stop it with people that I knew.
Her and Klein
had problems, and they're.
Wait, let me go back. I'm sorry. I talked. I'll shut up now. I'll shut up.
By my peers, and it was often in situations like this.
I feel horrible about not trying to stop it with people that I knew had problems, and there's nothing I can do.
Don't feel sorry for her.
Take it back.
You did the deed.
And if someone was hurt by it, saying I'm sorry
ain't enough.
Isn't enough. To me, it's like I should have tried harder. I should have tried to stop it. I should have done more. I should have done something. And I didn't. And at the end, you're ultimately responsible for what you've done, how you've participated. You have to take responsibility for it. There's a number of people that have died from their addictions.
And she thinks one of them is Michael. Because this is a Michael Jackson documentary.
And in some way I was part of it. Give me a minute. You know, it's hard when you feel like you're part of the problem and you don't stop. I just think I should have been a better person than I was. I sucked as a human being.
Okay, so when I was in the courtroom and I came back and I reported that Debbie admitted that her and Dr. Klein and Dr. Hoffman purposely admitted Michael Jackson to drugs, I was called a racist. Could you imagine that? And I was accused of making stuff up and that I didn't like that Michael married 2 white women and had white children. You know, I was the one that was thought of as the bad person when I am just the messenger. And then a few years later, boom, boom, this is released where Debbie admits it. Now she says, oh, I'm not going to talk about Michael Jackson in particular, but I'm going to talk about my role in his life working for Dr. Klein as a receptionist. There's no such thing as a nurse's assistant. Okay? That's a receptionist or a clerk. Okay? You need a medical license in order to practice medicine on people, and she didn't have none of that. Does she get in trouble for it? No. Why? Because she's white, right? Imagine if this was a black woman saying she did this. Imagine. Or a black person saying they did this. Just imagine. She gets a pass. And I haven't even gotten to her extortionist plot. I did in the last video, and you got to watch the last video. Okay, so let's go back to some of the stuff. Oh, before I get into Debbie, I got some stuff that I got to report to you guys, okay? All right, let's do, I'm going to segue with that one, but let's go to, let's see. This one is Baby Be Mine, okay? You guys know how Michael and Billie Jean is all about his son, and he's saying he was wishing it wasn't true, but it was true. That was his son. His eyes looked like mine. Oh no, the lie became the truth. Okay. He says, want to be starting something. Then we have the song Baby Be Mine, right? So Baby Be Mine is Michael telling you that baby's mine. The son is mine. Okay. Now, that was in 82 that Thriller came out, the Thriller album, right? And I'm also thinking The Girl Is Mine might have been because there was a setup dad who was Augie Johnson. And maybe Michael was saying in his head, just because you got my girl, the girl is still mine. I'm just saying. Also, it was the flip side of I Just Can't Stop Loving You, right? When Michael released it as a flip side to I Just Can't Stop Loving You five years later, in 1987, which is when Mickey's song Baby Be Mine came out too, right? Mickey had a song Baby Be Mine. Michael had a song Baby Be Mine. So Michael put it on the flip side of I Just Can't Stop Loving You, that single, right? And I think maybe they had more of a relationship than we thought. I thought it was a one-night stand. But let's move on, okay? If you want to know more about Brandon being Michael's son, watch Alive 4, and there's going to be, I'm going to re-edit Alive 4 and re-release it as well, because there's so much more that goes to the Brandon Howard story that I have found out later that I got to remix that, okay? So Alive 4 is going to be improved, and it's going to have more stuff in it. Okay. But anyway, so Baby Be Mine, right? Michael re-releases it 5 years later on the flip side of I Just Can't Stop Loving You, right? So, let's look at this. Okay. So here are the lyrics to Mickey Howard's Baby Be Mine. All right, see all this? Baby Be Mine. This is Mickey Howard. Baby, won't you be mine? Oh, come on. Just give me a little bit. Baby Be Mine. Baby Be Mine. Look on the bottom. Baby Be Mine lyrics. Music Sales Corporation. Peer Music Publishing. Sony ATV Music Publishing. What? Michael owned that song? Michael owned that song too? Michael went and bought the song. Michael went and got the ownership to her Baby Be Mine as well. This is according to the lyrics, okay? This is according to this, okay? Hold on. I ain't done. Because it wasn't first. At first, it wasn't. It wasn't Sony ATV. Okay. Now, wait, before I get, oh no, let me finish this. It's so much. Wait, guys, wait, it's so much. Okay. So let's go here. So this is Mickey's single 12-inch to Baby Be Mine. Don't say Sony ATV on it, right? DMC doesn't say Sony ATV. So when it was first released in October of 87, it wasn't Sony ATV. So Michael must have purchased it after the fact, right? But I Just Can't Stop Loving You came out in 87, but in July. So July, August, September, 3 months before. Now, if anybody knows anything about show business, A song is completely finished for months before it is released to the public, because it needs time for you to press the albums, for you to make them into a physical physical piece of property that people can pick up and buy. Then it has to be shipped out to all the stores. So then when it starts getting radio play and people want to buy it, they can just rush to the store and they can buy it, right? So that's 3 months. So Michael knew ahead of time that she had that song, Baby Be Mine. And Michael knew that that was coming. So Michael beat her to the punch and released Baby Be Mine on the flip side of I Just Can't Stop Loving You 3 months before Mickey released her song, Baby Be Mine. I'm just saying, okay? And then he bought it later, because now Sony Music is no longer called Sony ATV, since the estate sold it in 2016. And the reason why they sold it was because of the Reclamation Copyright Act, which meant after so many years, the original owner, the original writer, original creator of the song has a right to get their copyrights back. And Paul McCartney, we all know the Paul McCartney story, that Paul thought that Michael bought the songs from up underneath him, because it was the ATV catalog that meant Associated Television, right? And it has a long history, and it was, I think it was British, and they owned the Lennon-McCartney songs, plus a lot more, except for Penny Lane. The guy who owned it first, that Michael bought it for, kept Penny Lane because his daughter was Penny or something, but he kept Penny Lane. But the other ones, that valuable Sony catalog, the reason why they were selling it, because Michael had signed in so many years, either Sony, you're going to buy my 50%, or I'm going to buy Sony, or Michael's going to buy Sony's 50%. So when the time came, the estate was like, I don't think I want it, because Paul's already lining up saying he gonna sue for his own stuff and get his stuff back, right? And he did, okay? And I guess Yoko too, because she's the owner of all the Paul McCartney, but Paul McCartney got those songs back, okay? And we know because Paul McCartney had a movie and he had a lawsuit as well. So that's why the estate said it's time to go ahead and we're not going to pay you $750 million, which we don't have that much cash, and that would leave us pretty much, cash strapped. So we would have to sell things in order to do it. But Sony is a big company. They make televisions and Walkmans and all kinds of stuff. So Sony went ahead and paid Michael $750 million for his half of the Sony ATV catalog that Michael bought in '85. And then a few years later, in the early 90s, I think it was 92, Michael merged his ATV catalog with Sony, and it became Sony ATV. And Sony had given Michael like $90 million, $100 million to make that merger. Okay, so that's that. But a Sony ATV, so Michael ended up buying that song, Baby Be Mine. I'm telling y'all, we talking about Michael's own activities. Michael wrote the song, okay? Billie Jean. Okay, Baby Be Mine was probably named something else, because I don't know any white people that gonna go Baby Be Mine. That's black talk, Baby Be Mine. Yeah, like we do the double negatives. I'm just saying. Anyway. So if you want to know more about Brandon, and also Michael said when Billie Jean first came out and became a big hit, he said there's a lot of truth to that song, and I've released that recording. The director of the Billie Jean video, in which the video was shot in Los Angeles, was being interviewed on the set of Billie Jean, and he said, Michael told me to make the streets of Chicago, make the set look like the streets of Chicago. Mickey is from Chicago, okay? And there's more. But anyway, so Brandon is Michael's biological son. Plus, I wanted to show you guys this. Now, most of the media had got, and then we're gonna get into Debbie. Most of the media had gotten the sabotaged results of the Michael Jackson of the Brandon Howard supposed Michael dental records, dental something, mold or something with Michael's DNA, and they were seeing if Brandon was his kid, but Michael interfered. When you got money, you can, and put a Terminator, the movie, logo on the actual lab that did the results, but there were results, right? So, but they said it was inconclusive. But this right here, it's showing up more and more and more that the results came back. Here you go. This is probate house something, and other people say it too, that it was a 99.9% match. According to International Business Time, Brandon Howard's DNA is a 99.9% match to Michael Jackson. Probate issues, okay, to Michael Jackson. A Beverly Hills dental surgeon allegedly had a sample of Jackson's DNA from an earlier procedure, then conducted a test with Howard. According to a video Howard released on Facebook, Howard wanted to end speculation about the connection to Jackson. Okay, and when Brandon Howard said, I am not self-proclaiming to be the son of the king of pop, number one, he was protecting his mother who signed an NDA because Billie Jean is always talking when nobody else is talking. Okay, and Mickey admitted that she signed an NDA. Number two, Brandon was using the title of the TMZ documentary saying that he never self-proclaimed. Okay, using that, you know, the like making it technical. Okay, but Brandon Howard, come on, all this stuff, he sounds just like him, he looks just like him, everything. All right, so let's just move on a little bit. So that's Brandon. Let's do, before we get into stuff, let's do Blood on the Dance Floor. Thank you, Winifred from Detroit, Michigan, for telling me about this. Okay, so now we are going to go to the song Blood on the Dance Floor. Blood on the Dance Floor was a long, big production. It lasted from 91 to 97, right? So that means the fine tuning was done sometime in 96, right? 96, because it came out in March. Remember, you got to have time to press the records and send them out. So you got 3, 4, 5, 6 months between the final recording, that is the master, and when it hits the store shelves and is released on radio. Okay, so we have let's do here we go. Okay, Blood on the Dance Floor, which is an album I really never paid attention to because, you know, I don't want to associate Michael with Blood on the Dance Floor. Your music brought me too much joy and too much happiness and too much excitement. Blood on the Dance Floor. Ugh, what does that mean? What's that mean, blood on the dance floor? I don't want blood on your dance floor, Michael. Right? Because I didn't. So I never really paid attention to that album because I couldn't get beyond that title, Blood on the Dance Floor. You know, it was like, it was rubbing me the wrong way. Right? So, and I probably need to listen to the whole album, but of course I know about the album, and I know about the album cover and the Twin Towers and how it's missing, and it's just a whole bunch of stuff, okay? Okay, so in the lyrics to Blood on the Dance Floor, people have speculated that Debbie Rowe is Susie. Okay, Susie's got your number, okay? If I Google... is Blood on the Dance Floor about Debbie Rowe? Blood on the Dance Floor, because I know a lot of people have speculated that it was her, but it's just opinion, you know. And Michael, is he going to admit it? Is Blood on the Dance Floor about Debbie Rowe? About Debbie? Because I had heard that many times, right? And I'm thinking, I don't know if Blood on the Dance Floor is about Debbie Rowe, you know, but I had heard it many times. Okay. Michael's Time World gets posed Debbie and Rowe. Okay, Blood on the Dance Floor. Okay, because of the timing. Okay, Blood on the Dance Floor Wikipedia. Let's do this. Wikipedia. Blood on the Dance Floor. That's a band. I want the song. The song Blood on the Dance Floor Wikipedia. Blood on the Dance Floor about Debbie Rowe. And let's do Wikipedia. Okay, because we are going to go through it. Okay, Blood on the Dance. Oh, I think I got to put on Michael Jackson because it keeps coming up this group. Okay, I got to put Michael's name in it. Michael Jackson. Okay, Blood on the Dance Floor song. Okay, here we go. Blood on the Dance Floor song. Okay, so it was in the making. Probably the music was in the making for a while. So this is Blood on the Dance Floor, and it was recorded from 91 to 97. So it was reworked in 97. Okay, let's hit the one. The one means Blood on Michael Jackson, the story behind every track. Ooh. Okay, but I can't look at that. I can't look at that. All right, and that's what Michael wanted him to know. Okay, so Teddy Riley apparently and Michael Jackson wrote the song. Okay, Blood on the Dance Floor, Michael Jackson and Teddy Riley are songwriters. Okay, so let's go look at, so 97. Okay, some of y'all might know what happened, what Michael was, Prince was born in 97, which means Debbie, February 97, which means Debbie Rowe was pregnant in 96. So this is what's going on in Michael's life at the time that he's recording Blood on the Dance Floor. Okay, the album. Debbie's pregnant or having Prince is what's going on. It came out, I think March 21st, 1997, and Prince was born in February. Okay, so here we go. Let's go back to the lyrics. And, oh my God, I'm telling y'all, I'm right, that she tricked him. I'm right, watch. Okay, Susie's got your number. Susie ain't your friend. Look who took you under with 7 inches in. I guess that's sex. Michael, you got 7 inches? Is that you with 7 inches, baby? Really? Okay, blood is on the dance floor. Blood is on the knife. Susie got your number, and Susie says it right. She got your number, A. How does it feel to know this stranger is about to kill? She got your baby, It happened fast, if you could only, erase the past. I'm just saying, I'm telling y'all, she tricked him with getting pregnant. Every night stands is like taking chances. It's not about love and romance. And now you're going to get in. Every hot man is out taking a chance. It's not about love and romance. And now you do regret it. Okay? Now, before I do more commentary on that, I want you guys to know something very, very important. What I am reporting about the conception of Paris and Prince and BG has nothing to do with them as people. Okay? It is not their fault. They were pawns in Debbie Rowe's extortionist plot. Okay? They were pawns in the plot. Okay? To steal Michael's fortune away from the black lineage that he has and give it to the white power structure. Okay, because white people got to have everything, and they got to have the best of everything. Okay, and Michael was so good, he didn't deserve to be black. He was better than black. So, and Dr. Klein and Debbie Rowe is in charge of Michael's skin. Michael had really bad acne, and he went to the doctor. Dr. Klein. Found my David Geffen. I found the David Geffen introduced Michael to Dr. Klein. I found that. Okay, let's figure that one out. Here we go. Okay, remember I mentioned it, but I couldn't find it back then. Here we go. Here we go. All right. You first met him as a new patient of Dr. Klein in the 80s. Would that be fair to say? That's the lawyer. Debbie's answering yes. Question, he was introduced to Dr. Klein by David Geffen. Answer, yes. Question, true. Okay. And the first time he came in, would you agree that he was still in his early 20s and still living at home with his mother? Yes. And he came in, you said, for treatment of acne. Is that correct? Yes. And would you agree that at this time in his life, his acne caused him considerable embarrassment? Yes. Okay. See? I don't make stuff up. Okay. Then I want you guys to know the UCLA and Dr. Klein. Let's do UCLA. I like Google better. Okay, Google. Okay, let's do UCLA David Geffen, and Dr. Arnold Klein. Just to let you know how close they were. Okay. Dr. Arnold Klein. Okay. Here we go. Dr. Arnold Klein. Here we go. Let's see. Born. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Career. Michael Jackson. Board. AIDS research. Elizabeth Taylor. Where is it? Control F. And Geffen. Oh, here we go. Okay. Check this out. Career. Klein was an unpaid volunteer professor of medicine and dermatology at the UCLA David Geffen School of Medicine. So they were close. Okay. So maybe he was unpaid because he gave Michael Jackson to Dr. Klein as a patient, and he owed him. I'm just saying. I don't know if that's true. I mean, I don't know if it was an exchange, a transaction, but there you go. Debbie's testifying that David Geffen is the one that introduced Michael to Dr. Klein. Okay. And Dr. Klein also was a professor, unpaid, according to Wikipedia. Okay. Of David Geffen School of Medicine at UCLA. I'm just saying, and UCLA is where Michael Jackson supposedly died. David Geffen has a lot of pull at UCLA. Lots and lots of pull. I'm just now putting that together too. Okay? Because I'm still trying to figure out why it was in David's best interest, or why he had to meddle in Leaving Neverland with Oprah and Gail. I'm still trying to figure that one out. David, what was your thing? Why? You had him on your yacht and Oprah hit, boom. She tried to destroy Michael. Oprah's career has not recovered from that. Because everybody who was living at the time knows that when there was the talk show mania, kind of like the reality show mania, there was a talk show mania where there was talk shows everywhere. And people were losing their interest in talk shows at one point because it was just too much talk shows, right? And Michael gave Oprah the interview, right? The interview. Right? In the 90s, the early 90s. I believe it was February 93 or January, somewhere in 93, right? Right? I think. Okay, let's see if I'm right. Because when did Oprah interview Michael Jackson? 93. Okay. 93, like I said. Okay. 93. Okay. So, Oprah, and that took Oprah's career through the stratosphere. And when all the other talk shows were canceling, Ricky Lake, Jenny Jones, Sally Raphael, all Rolanda, all those shows got canceled. Geraldo, I think he went a little longer, but Oprah stayed the longest, longer than even Phil Donahue. Okay, and he was the king of the talk show. He was the originator, pretty much, for making it go mainstream. Okay, so David, what the hell? So Oprah, a lot of people ain't forgave her because Michael helped her career tremendously, and she did not give him the benefit of the doubt, and she didn't research Michael Jackson, and she could have, and she thought he was guilty and was mad when he got acquitted. Instead of sending somebody down, she could have got a media credential, sent somebody down to tell her exactly, she owed that to Michael. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. Okay, so now I talked about, let's go back to Blood on the Dance Floor with the lyrics. Okay, let's go back to the lyrics of Blood on the Dance Floor lyrics. Okay, let's go back to Blood on the Dance Floor lyrics. Okay. Let's go back here. So at this time, Debbie was pregnant. So he says, it's about to kill, she got your baby. Okay. It happened fast, which meant he didn't even see it coming. He told her no. And all of a sudden, baby, if you could only erase the past, he was like, oh man, did I really do this? Did I get myself in a pickle like this? Okay. And then he said, and now you do regret it. Okay, this is when baby Prince was baby and in the womb and all this stuff. And he's like, dang. And he said, and it wasn't about love. It wasn't about romance. Susie's got your number and Susie ain't your friend. Okay, Michael figured it out. He is talking about Debbie Rowe. Okay, and he's talking about blood on the dance floor, which meant what the dance floor is his career. It's symbolism for his career. And blood is all the pain that he suffered for being a successful entertainer. And all he's been used, tricked, schemed, plotted, extorted, all this stuff due to his fame and his fortune. Okay, and that's why he called it Blood on the Dance Floor. Hi, Cecil. Hi. Oh, Cecil's in here. I was wondering if he wanted something from me. No. Okay, he's just walking in. Okay, so we got that. Okay, so Debbie tricked him. Okay, these are his own words. Him and Teddy Riley wrote the song. Okay, so I'm just saying. Okay, I'm just reporting what's out there. So thank you, Winifred, for that. Okay, let's see. I did that. Okay, let's see what else I have. Ooh, I'm getting through this fast. Okay, now remember how I told you guys that Debbie admitting to MJ and drugs. Debbie was in charge of Michael's drugs. So much so, she got mad when other doctors tried to intervene. Right? And then she stopped messing with Dr. Hoffman and started messing with Dr. Metzger. Okay, so whenever something happened and another doctor would intervene, Debbie, since she was in Michael's life and she was there to make sure Michael stayed addicted to drugs, okay, she called Dr. Metzger on the, do you know that they do that? And Dr. Metzger and her would be in a little sewing circle and they would connive and do whatever so that they can keep control of their golden goose, which was Michael Jackson. Okay, this is some cold-blooded stuff. So let's read this one, see why I have this one. Okay, this transcript. I went through a lot of these transcripts. I went through a lot of these transcripts already. Question, how were you aware of that? Answer, because I was the one who was giving the medication to Michael at the time. You think I'm making stuff up, y'all? You think I'm making stuff up? I am not. Debbie says, because I was the one who was giving the medications to Michael at the time. Question, and by medication, are you talking about the drugs we were already talking about? Yes. Question, and when you say you were with him, where were you with him? He had a place in Century City. I worked in Beverly Hills. I would be there every day at lunchtime to take him lunch. Aww. And then before I went home at night, I stopped by to see if he needed anything. Did you take your next pill, Michael? Did you take it? To see how he was feeling. And then if he needed me, I'd come back over. I lived in the valley. Okay, oops. Let me go back. Hold on. Oh, I don't want to apply. Okay, there we go. All right, you guys think I'm kidding? You think I'm joking around? I'm making stuff up? Because I'm the racist, okay? I'm the bad person. And you give Debbie a pass? Debbie should be hated by every single solitary fan for using human children to extort and to scheme to get Michael's ownership of the Sony ATV catalog and all his assets out of black people's lineage, out of his own bloodline. Okay? This is what she did. And she's crying like that on camera. You know why? Because she didn't tell everything. Because there's more. There's more. she should be arrested for attempted murder, accessory to murder, and for writing prescriptions, and by being a drug dealer, making sure. It is horrible. Horrible. And this is Debbie's testimony, y'all. Imagine what else she said. Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Okay. Rowe begged to give MJ kids her idea transcript. You want to go over that one? Let's go over that one. Let's go over that one. Okay, let's go over that one. Okay. Question. And in fact, because he wanted children after his divorce from Lisa Marie, did you offer to have children for Mr. Jackson? That is, if I was a lawyer, that's implying. Okay? That is inferring. That is because he wanted children. Check that out. How that's leading. The word is leading. Okay, answer. I was trying. He was devastated after their divorce. No, he wasn't. It was all a scheme. It wasn't a real marriage. I already went over that in Alive 3. Okay, how it's definitely 1,000,000,000% illegitimate, and it was in the Dominican Republic, and Debbie and Michael's marriage ceremony was in Australia. Why? Because he didn't really marry them. Okay, I was trying to help him feel better about it, or try to figure out what happened. Michael will tell you what he wants you to know. I said, what's the thing that makes you the saddest? He said, I never had any children. He's probably missing his son, Brandon. And I said, well, that doesn't keep you from being a father. I said, you can be a father. I said, let me have a baby with you. You can have the joy of being a parent. Do you remember, in fact, did he agree to having children? To have children with him? It took a couple of weeks going back and forth thinking about it. Then we talked about it, and then he never agreed. Okay. And then she got pregnant, and then she trapped him because we just listened to his own words in Blood on the Dance Floor. Okay. It happened so fast. I regret it. It shouldn't have happened. She got pregnant and then told him, and then told the press. And Michael said, oh, well, it will make me look less like a pedophile after all. Okay. So, there you go. Okay. Let's do another one. Row competition between Hoffman and Klein. You guys want to hear how okay, let's do this one. And there's a few more. Okay. Let's do this one. Then I gotta go. Question. Okay. So I had this Sasaki thing going on. I guess he was a doctor. There was this going on. He was getting ready for a tour, a leg of a tour. I don't know which. And because we couldn't get a grip of the pain, he was saying Sasaki had stepped away from managing the pain. It was left up to Klein and Hoffman, and they were having a pissing contest over who gave the better drug. I told y'all. Okay, so this was this time period, yes. And was Mr. Jackson seeing Dr. Klein in this time period as well? Answer, he did. We were doing the acne scars, and I would have to look to see about, like I said, about collagen being approved to see if we were doing the nasolabial fold. Okay, can you recall when Mr. Jackson was preparing to go back on tour in this period? When? Question, do you remember that he was preparing in this time period to go back on tour? Oh, yeah. And when he was preparing, was he coming to see Dr. Klein in terms of seeing a doctor to help him prepare to go on tour? You mean to look better? Uh-huh. Yeah. He was breaking out and stuff. And in that time period, you mentioned that there was a contest between two doctors. Debbie says a pitching match, not a contest. It was a pissing match. Okay. So they were competing. Okay. For Michael's affections. No, I got more powerful drug. And that's how Michael got addicted to drugs. And guess who was going to pick up the drugs and give them to Michael and make sure he took them? Debbie was. Okay. Debbie was. Okay, let's keep going. Let's see. Demerol. Okay. We know that they addicted Michael to Demerol. And they were, why'd you do Demerol? Reduce the doses. Why not? Because he was my boss and he was the doctor and he didn't know that. Oh, okay. All right. Remember I told you she was doing a sewing circle with Dr. Metzger? Okay, here we go. And why did you do that, Debbie? Because I didn't think he needed to take that much Demerol. Oh, you're the doctor. And did you ever mention to Dr. Klein that you were trying to reduce the dosage? No. And why not? Because he was my boss and he was the doctor and he didn't need to know that I called Dr. Metzger. Oh, so she's acting as if she is the one got Michael's back. She's gonna, and this is her telling the story. Okay, in this time period, were you aware of whether Mr. Jackson was getting fentanyl patches? Answer: it was after Dr. Sasaki, and I don't remember if that was part of the coming off of the Demerol or if that was during the to get a grip on the pain after the surgery. I do know about the patches. Question: so you knew he was getting them, you just don't know why? I don't remember. No, this is Debbie. I don't remember where in the treatment with the scalp issue it was, if he was to get a hold of the pain, because we couldn't get she ain't a doctor, she ain't a nurse, because we couldn't get a grip on the pain, because as the tissue expander gets bigger and bigger, it causes a lot more pressure, a lot more pain. It stretches all scar tissue. So I don't remember if we couldn't get a hold of the pain there, or if it was after the surgery was done to close the scalp and it had separated and it was almost like we had to start all over again. So I don't remember where in the 3-month treatment that it was used. Do you remember the time period? Yes. And you indicated you were reducing the dosage of Demerol. Do you think Mr. Jackson was addicted to Demerol at this point? And I believe her answer was yes. Okay. So, of course, Debbie's going to make herself sound better because she's getting the testimony, right? I'm telling y'all, this ain't pretty. This is not. Okay. Remember I told you when Prince was a baby and she had Michael so addicted out of his mind on drugs that she was out trying to get pregnant, and she got pregnant in Paris, and Mark Lester is a 7-hour drive, which just means an 1.5 to 2-hour plane ride. Okay. And there had to be a fertility clinic somewhere in there. Okay. For her to get pregnant with Paris. And I believe Paris is her egg. I believe Paris is her daughter. Okay. And I believe Mark Lester is the Paris's biological father, because Mark Lester admitted to giving sperm for Michael. Okay. For Debbie Rowe, through Debbie Rowe. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Answer: because I wasn't sure how Michael would be when he woke up, and if he had to come upstairs or if he had come over to we usually stayed on a different floor or a different area because the fans would keep the baby awake, and I enjoy my sleep. You guys weren't husband and wife. You didn't share the same bed, the same house, or the same hotel room. And so when he wasn't with the baby, I had the baby on the other side of the hotel. And I told Grace, I said, if he comes up and he's not right, I said, don't leave him alone with the baby. The baby, not babies, with the baby. Prince is a baby. Okay? So she, meanwhile, getting pregnant, leaving and all, okay. And did you explain to Grace what was being done? I said that he had medication for sleep. Did you tell her what it was? Grace wouldn't answer, wouldn't know. Okay, because she a dumb Negro, African, black woman. She can't figure nothing out. She's stupid. Okay? Answer: she wouldn't know the difference. Look at Debbie Rowe. Look how she's saying. Grace wouldn't know the difference. She don't know. She's stupid. Okay. And is there anyone else you discussed this with ever? Dr. Klein knew. You would discuss it with Dr. Klein. What did you tell him? Answer: I always talked to Dr. Klein when I got back he was always mad because I left and I was off work for like 2 days, because she was double checking on Michael, keeping Michael under her control. So she traveled with him, and he was very mad and then would want to know everything that happened. And I didn't mind sharing stuff with him, but when it came to his medical stuff, you know, I wanted. Klein at one time was a brilliant physician, and it was very sad what happened to him. Okay. Now, Dr. Klein is now dead. Okay. And in California, you cannot defame a dead person. Okay, that's why Leaving Neverland, they couldn't sue for Leaving Neverland, okay, because you can't defame a dead person, okay. But then that HBO, they settled quietly. That HBO lawsuit where the estate sued HBO because they had a contract with living Michael live in Bucharest. Bucharest. Okay. Budapest is in Hungary. Bucharest is somewhere else in Europe. But anyway, it was the HBO special. And in that contract, it said, forever, okay, in perpetuity, okay, you cannot disparage Michael Jackson, ever, okay. And when HBO aired Leaving Neverland, they broke that forever contract, okay. And so they settled outside of court because we were waiting for it, right? Arbitration. So it's been a quiet settlement, and we believe the estate won, and probably won money, because, I'm going to tell you why. Because when Leaving Neverland 2 came out, HBO didn't have nothing to do with it. HBO had nothing to do with it. They didn't want no parts of it. Okay? So that leads me to believe the settlement was in favor of Michael Jackson's estate. All right. So I'm telling y'all, okay, don't leave the baby with Michael. And you busy pregnant or getting pregnant or trying to get pregnant, okay? Because parents ain't born yet. So, and you know Michael's been addicted to drugs for years because you've been addicted to him since early 90s. Prince was born in 97. So you know he's a drug addict. You know for a fact. So why did you go and get pregnant and give a baby to a drug addict that was so high out of his mind? Oh, let's proof of how high out of his mind he was. Shall we proceed? Okay, let's proceed. Okay, let's see. Rowe fighting for control over MJ. I want to get back to that one. MJ loses control with, let's see. MJ loves talking on the phone. Okay, remember I told y'all that she take the phones out of the room with Michael. Okay, here we go. Okay. I said, I'm taking these. You're fucked up. Sorry, I'm sorry. Okay. Question. What did he say in response? Answer. He said, yeah. And I asked him if it was okay. And then I unplugged every phone in the hotel room. You didn't ask for his permission, Debbie. You made that up. You just took the phones because you Billy Badass, you controlling. Okay. Why was that? He likes to talk on the phone. It's just one of his favorite things to do is talk on the phone. Me, Peter, Michael, Bobby would be on the phone for hours, all day, 8 hours before I had to get a job. Even when I had a job, I would still fit him in while I was selling cards, and in between selling cards, him and I would spend hours on the phone. Michael loves to have the phone attached to him. He loves for somebody to be there with him. Okay, question. And why didn't you talk? Why didn't you want him to talk on the phone? Because you couldn't understand what he was saying. So I didn't want him to embarrass himself. How long did you stay? I was there all night. And did you leave the next day? Okay, whatever. I said, I'm taking these. You're fucked up. Sorry, I'm sorry. Okay, so she gets him high. He gets too high, she says, and she takes the phone with her. Now, she said, I'm taking these. But then she said she asked permission. No, you didn't. Because you had him high out of his mind. Okay, so much so that he couldn't even be on the phone with people because he would slur and all this other stuff. I don't make this stuff up. Okay? I don't make this stuff up. Let's move back. This is the one. Rowe fighting with another doctor about control over Michael. Debbie's not, no kind of medical training whatsoever. Okay. Listen, and this is her telling it, so it's way worse than this because she wanted to protect herself, but she couldn't help but tell. Okay. Question. Answer. He was making eye contact. He wasn't speaking. He didn't make sense when he did. And he said he was having problems with his scalp again, and we got into a fight. So they would argue. Question. I was about to ask about that. So you got into a fight. What did you get into a fight about? Answer. I'm a little hot-headed. Oh, yeah, you are. I went off on him about forecasts. That's another doctor. What did you say? Answer. I probably shouldn't use that language, but I'm going to clean it up a lot. Mr. Banish is abbreviate. Okay, the witness. That's Debbie. I was angry that forecasts had intercepted Mesker, that forecasts had undermined everything that was done. I felt that forecast was hurting him, not helping him, that he was arrogant. I said I didn't even know that. And if he had called and it had only been 6 weeks since I had seen Michael from, I don't remember where it was the 6 weeks before that. Okay. So another doctor is trying to intervene, and she's pissed off about it. She's mad about it, okay? And she's going to try to get rid of him. Oh, let's keep going. There's another one that's real good. Rowe loses control. Others took him on tour without telling her. So they had to sneak Michael out of her control and not tell her that Michael was leaving on tour. That's how much of a meddler she was in control of Michael. Listen to this one. This one's a little bit long. Okay. Oops. Where'd it go? Hold on. Where'd it go? Here it is. Okay. He was on Toradol. I don't know what Toradol was, which is a non-narcotic. And he was right there. He is Michael. And it was a fight to get him there, you know, because he had such fear of pain that it would happen if we didn't catch it. Because if you don't get pain before, it's a bad cycle. Oh, she knows, but the doctor don't know that. Okay, if you don't catch it before it gets to a certain point, then you have to go you have to go overboard. You have to go a different way. And he was doing so well, and I didn't want anything to screw up. I talked to him and asked him how he was one morning, and he said he didn't feel good. And I said, well, I'll just bring you soup for lunch then. And I said, which is more pills, I have to see a patient, so I won't be there until later. I got there, since I took the lunch late, I probably would have gotten there about 1:30, 2 o'clock, and everything was gone at the house. Everything was gone at the house. His instruments, his clothes, everything was gone. And I called, I think it was Evie that was working with him. I wasn't sure if it was Evie or Norma at the time. And I said, everything is gone. What happened? And she said, he's gone on tour. And I said, well, how could he just go on tour? And I said, he doesn't have any of the stuff. He doesn't have any of the stuff of drugs. And she said, and she sounded like it was, well, they took him. There was really nothing we can do. I mean, obviously, if he had a tour, there's nothing you can do. I didn't know he was leaving. So I called Dr. Mesker and told him how concerned I was. And I got a call from Dr. Mesker after I'd already gotten home from work that day. And he said that I needed to take all the medication. Don't leave no proof there. Don't leave that I had for Michael for bringing him off the Demerol and getting him on the tour. Get the evidence, y'all. Pick up all the medicine, girl. We don't want them to know what we was doing. I needed to take it to this doctor at the Peninsula Hotel in Beverly Hills. And I said, okay, now, Dr. Mesker had written specific instructions on how medications were supposed to be given, when they were supposed to be given. And I had all of my notes that I wrote after I did. Sure, you had all your notes with your hot-headed, controlling, Debbie know everything. I always called the doctor before I did something. Sure, you did. I always made a note when I did it. Sure, you did. I always called the doctor afterwards to let them know what was happening. I met this doctor at the Peninsula, and I offered to go over everything with him. And he just grabbed the bag and said, I know what I'm doing. And he didn't want to listen to anything I said. And I called Dr. Metzger and told him I was worried about it. And then I found out that Forecast had gone to Bangkok, and the first thing he did was to give Michael 100 milligrams of Demerol. And I'm like, he screwed everything up that we've done, that we had done, And the doctor, a question, and the doctor that you're talking about that you met at the hotel was named Dr. Forecast. Yes, and I'm going to try and get us up to this point, if I can, after the Sheridan, Mr. Rowe, whatever. So they had to sneak Michael away from her. They had to sneak Michael away from her. Okay? Like he had to, like it was a plan, like a movie. They had to sneak while she's gone, while she's busy. You know, let's not let her know that I'm packing up everything. So when she left, they were rushing and packing up everything. And then when she got there, he was gone. And she was out of control. She was pissed. And she was mad. And she said everything that we had done, her and Dr. Metzger had done, Dr. Forecast was going to undo. But get all the medicines. Okay, she didn't tell that he probably said, but don't take this one to him and don't take that one to him, because she doesn't really want to incriminate herself. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm filling in the blanks. Okay, the opinions are me filling in the blanks. Those are me filling in the blanks, but I'm telling you the facts here. Okay, let's see. Rowe, MJ sad not having kids after the divorce, and Rowe pulling rank. Okay, here's Rowe pulling rank. Okay. Here we go. Now, you guys, the transcripts are online. You can read them all. Okay, I talked to security. This is Debbie talking. I talked to security, and I said I needed to talk to Forecast. And I had to run it by whoever production or whatever it was. Question, and did you talk to Mr. Jackson about the idea that you wanted to talk to Dr. Forecast? Yeah. And what did he say? Answer, Michael never had a problem with, he always called me pulling rank. Pulling rank. She ain't got a nurse's license to the first. She ain't a doctor. And he never had a problem with me pulling rank on someone, because there were times that he didn't know who he was screwing with. Well, he didn't know who was screwing with him. He trusted people. You foolishly trusted a lot of people. Answer. And so he had no issue with your going to Dr. Forecast. Answer. He knew I wasn't going to go talk to Forecast. He knew I was going to go and chew his ass out. So he knew what was happening. Question. And did he tell you not to do that? No. Question, did he tell you he'd help you make it so you could see Dr. Forecast? Answer, I said I could. When I went and asked security, said, I need to talk to the doctor. They said they had to run it by whoever it was. I don't remember the name. And then I was told no. They had to get her away from Michael. They had to rescue Michael. I'm just saying. She says he was stone cold out of his mind, so effed up, okay, that you couldn't even leave the phone with him, okay, that you couldn't leave a baby with him, right? That's how messed up she had him. Her own words, right? And then, so they had to rescue Michael away from her, okay, put him on tour, get another doctor to start another type of regimen for the pain, and poor Michael addicted to drugs on purpose. And then Debbie going to get white sperm donors to have children. Okay. Meanwhile, Michael's skin's getting whiter and whiter. His offsprings, not his offsprings, but his quote unquote custody of certain kids. Okay. Debbie had that. Okay. So, and then Michael says he regrets it and blood on, I'm just saying. Okay. It's horrible. Poor Michael. Michael is the victim here. Now, I know some of you fans might be mad at me because I'm the messenger and I'm telling you what's going on and you don't like it because you think Paris, Prince, and Blanket, they're innocent in this. Okay? They didn't ask for this. They are the products, the pawns in Debbie's scheme. Okay? So if you're going to be mad at anybody, you should be mad at Debbie Rowe. She could have killed him. Okay? She could have killed him. For real, for real. Okay? And there is testimony somewhere in here where Michael had almost died before. Okay? I believe. I have to find it. I got to find it. I'm not sure. But I think, and you got to remember something else too. Debbie is the one, when Michael had propofol when he was out of the country, she testified, there was testimony that her and Metzger had talked to the doctors at the hotel or on tour or whatever, and they had arranged for Michael to have propofol. Okay? Michael used propofol a few times, like most people do. Okay? Propofol is used in chronic freezing. That was a chronic dead body. Okay? That was a chronic dead body. That was not Michael Jackson's dead body. Okay? Anyway, please watch the AEGlive docuseries. Let me make sure I got all my notes. Please, let me make sure I went through all of them. All the ones I wanted to say. The Demerol. Do I want to go? I think I went over that. Okay, but there's more. There's always more. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna do one more thing. Pulling rank. Oh, it was Paul Gungaware. Okay, all right, Paul Gungaware that hired Dr. Forecast. Let's read this one. Okay, let's read this one together because I got a lot of notes. Okay. Here we go. They wouldn't let you see him, correct? Answer, correct. They had to rescue Michael and Debbie couldn't even get to him. Okay, question. Had you ever heard the name Paul Gungaware? Answer. I don't know why I know the name. I knew the name when we had the deposition. I don't know why the name sounded familiar. Okay, let me tell you who Paul Gungaware is, as well as Randy Brandon Phillips, were co-owners of, co-executors for AEGlive, the people who put on This Is It. And Paul Gungaware, when I was in the courtroom, sat right next to me, okay, before he went and testified. And they asked Paul Gungaware, when did you know about something with Michael? And he said, when it first happened. I got a video about it somewhere. But Paul Gungaware was also a part of the Elvis camp when Elvis was announced dead. Ain't that a bitch? Golly. Oh, my God. Paul Gungaware was there when Elvis died, or Elvis faked his death, whichever. And now Paul Gungaware is a part of it with AEG. This Is It. When Michael faked his death. I'm just saying, but let's finish with this one, Paul Gungaware. Okay. Do you know, as you sit here, whether it was Paul Gungaware who did not let you see Dr. Forecast? Answer, I don't know because I went through security. Question, and did you learn that Dr. Forecast had in fact been hired for the tour by the insurance company? Answer, not until yesterday. Mrs. Steppens, object. That's the other side. Lacks foundation. I don't know if there is any evidence that Dr. Forecast was hired by the insurance company. This is the other lawyer. She testified to that, Dr. Zeb. She said that was Mr. Panish, which was Katherine's attorney, but also there was Dr. Finkelstein. Mrs. Chain, I'll ask another question so we don't argue in front of each other. Judge, sustain, Miss Chain. Miss Rowe, would you agree that not only did Michael Jackson want to stay balanced on that line, but he also asked you to help him stay on that line? Maybe at first. But now they had to rescue Michael away from her. Okay? And then they had to build a fortress so she couldn't get through. And she trying her damnedest, boy. She trying her damnedest to get through. Ain't she? Trying to get to Michael. All right. Anyway, I gotta go. I will, I will talk to you guys later. Please, if you haven't watched the AEGlive docuseries, please do go to michaeljacksoninsider.com. And I am sorry to bring this to you guys, but it is some ugly, ugly, ugly stuff. Poor Michael.